provided detailed data on the seismic activity. This data set stands as one of the most comprehensive records of a destructive earthquake, offering valuable insights into the earthquake's impact and behavior. The surface rupture caused by the September 21, 1999, Taiwan earthquake stretches approximately 75 kilometers along the Chilungpu Fault, which runs in a north-south direction. It involves vertical movements ranging from 1 to 8 meters. Near Fengyuan at the fault's northern tip, it veers northeastward and breaks into several complex branches. This newly identified fault area extends an additional 10 kilometers and exhibits significant vertical and horizontal shifts. In one location, the Tachia River experienced an 8-meter displacement, creating a new waterfall and destroying. This rapid dissemination of information facilitated a prompt emergency response by the government. In the first 3 weeks after the main earthquake, over 10,000 aftershocks were recorded. Among them were more than 100 felt events, and 5 aftershocks were of a magnitude greater than 6.0. This aftershock sequence was particularly active compared to what is typically seen after an earthquake of this size. Some of these larger aftershocks caused panic, inflicted damage, and resulted in additional casualties. Interestingly, the major aftershocks all occurred to the east of the Chilungpu Fault and were aligned with the Sanyi Puli seismic zone to the north. This suggests that the initial rupture of the main earthquake, which had a magnitude of 7.6, may have activated other fault systems to the east of the Chilungpu Fault. The boundary of this activated region seems to be influenced by the stress caused by the collision, their connection to the earthquake's origin, and the resulting regional damage. The 2018 Hualien earthquake. On February 6, 2018, at 23:50, Taiwan was again struck by a powerful earthquake measuring 6.4 on the moment magnitude scale. The epicenter was near Hualien, causing severe damage in the area, with a maximum intensity of Vaikar, Severi on the Mercalli intensity scale. The earthquake resulted in at least 17 reported deaths and 285 injuries. Before the main earthquake, there were several foreshocks, including a significant one on February 4, 2018, with a magnitude of 5.8. This earthquake was part of a series of seismic events that had been affecting the region for several days, with foreshocks starting on February 3rd. The main earthquake was attributed to oblique slip faulting. Following, 2 from Hong Kong with Canadian citizenship and 1 from the Philippines. The Yunmen Suiti building accounted for 14 of the fatalities. In the city of Hualien, numerous buildings suffered damage, with 4 partially collapsing or sustaining severe damage. The lower levels of the Marshall Hotel collapsed, claiming 2 lives. Additionally, 14 deaths were reported in the 12-story Yunmen Suiti residential building, which leaned heavily after lower floors collapsed. To prevent further tilting of the Yunmen Suiti building, large beams were strategically placed by cranes during ongoing rescue operations. Many households faced water shortages, while several bridges and highways remained closed due to earthquake damage. Hundreds of firefighters and military personnel remained on site, providing crucial assistance in the rescue operations aimed at extracting individuals trapped in damaged structures. The Taiwanese government received offers of aid from several teams to arrive in Taiwan. Additionally, Singapore sent humanitarian supplies worth $103,000 to Taiwan, using a Republic of Singapore Air Force aircraft. Condolences poured in from at least 63 countries, including 18 with formal diplomatic ties with Taiwan, as well as from organizations like the European Union, the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, the Central American Parliament, and the Central American Integration System, expressing sympathy to the Taiwanese government. Devastation unleashed by massive earthquake. In Taiwan, the largest earthquake in at least 25 years struck on Wednesday, 3 April 2024, instantly claiming at least 9 lives and leaving over 800 people injured. Additionally, 50 individuals were reported missing while traveling to a national park. Rescue efforts were underway, with rescue house might collapse. In Hualien City, a woman who operates a bed and breakfast rushed to reassure her frightened guests during the quake. "This is the most intense earthquake I've ever felt," she said. The earthquake struck at a depth of 15.5 km, just as people were getting ready for work and school. This triggered a tsunami warning for southern Japan and the Philippines, but it was lifted later on. Videos captured rescuers using ladders to assist people stuck in buildings, while other areas experienced significant landslides. In Taipei, strong tremors forced the temporary closure of the subway system, although most lines were soon back in operation. Fire authorities reported that they were gradually evacuating individuals trapped in tunnels near Hualien City, including 2 individuals from Germany. However, they had lost contact with 50 travelers who were aboard 4 minibuses, heading to a quake's magnitude at 7.7. They noted that some small tsunami waves reached parts of the southern Okinawa prefecture. Although they downgraded the tsunami warning to an advisory, caution was still advised. In the Philippines, seismology officials issued warnings to coastal residents in multiple provinces, advising them to move to higher ground for safety. According to Chinese state media, the earthquake was felt in the southeastern province of Fujian. Additionally, a news agent reported feeling it in Shanghai, a major commercial city. In Taipei, aftershocks are still being felt, with more than 50 recorded, according to weather officials. Fortunately, most of the power has been restored after the earthquake, as confirmed by Taipower, the electricity utility company. Fortunately, both of the island's nuclear power stations remained unaffected. Taiwan's high-speed rail operator assured that there were no facilities were evacuated according to company procedures. They later mentioned that employees had started returning to work. TSMC's shares on the Taipei Stock Exchange dropped by 1.3% following the earthquake. However, the overall market index, largely unaffected by the quake, closed down by 0.6%. According to the official Central News Agency, this earthquake is the most significant since a magnitude 7.6 quake in 1999, which resulted in approximately 2,400 casualties and damaged or destroyed 50,000 buildings. Weather officials in Taiwan categorized Wednesday's earthquake in Hualien as an upper 6 on the intensity scale, which ranges from 1 to 7. Experts explain that such earthquakes can cause walls to collapse unless they are reinforced with concrete blocks. Additionally, people may find it difficult to stand upright and may need to cross and courage amidst devastation. The death toll from the quake has risen, and many people are still missing, making it an ongoing emergency situation. Soon after the initial earthquake, images and videos of partially collapsed buildings in Eastern County circulated on social media. Most major highways and railroads into that part of Taiwan have been severely damaged. To address this, authorities are arranging air and sea traffic to evacuate people from the affected area. Fortunately, the government's response was prompt, with resources, personnel, and evacuation teams deployed for rescue and relief efforts. In terms of evacuation, community centers, gyms, or nearby schools are quickly transformed into shelters for displaced individuals. Places like Kwan, which are prone to major earthquakes and other natural disasters, have well-established systems in place to respond effectively to such events. One of the reasons why casualties were limited in Hualien County. As for rebuilding efforts, significant work will be needed, especially since even the new metro has been damaged. The authorities are already working to get the railway back up and running into the affected part of Taiwan. They hope to have it fixed and operational by early Thursday morning. However, repairing the actual highway may take a bit longer, so they're arranging sea transport for people in Hualien to travel to other parts of Taiwan. Resources are also being allocated for the reconstruction of older buildings and school buildings that were damaged. Japan and the Philippines issued tsunami warnings, but these have now been lifted. These countries have experience dealing with earthquakes, so they quickly assessed the situation and lifted the warnings when they realized the impact wasn't as severe as initially thought. Frank Essa experienced the earthquake at his home near the epicenter in Wan, about 30 kilometers away. He had shocks occurring every 3 to 5 minutes, remain a source of ongoing fear. He also mentioned a notable aftershock about 15 minutes after the initial quake, measuring approximately 6.4 on the Richter scale, which was shallower, but still strong. The recent earthquake was particularly strong and caused significant damage to many structures due to its shallow depth and intensity. While confident in the stability of his own home, Frank acknowledged the challenges in preparing for such powerful earthquakes, especially in older buildings. The city of Wuhan has a population of around 100,000, and residents are familiar with the affected areas where collapsed or partially collapsed buildings are located. Frank mentioned passing by these buildings regularly and even being underneath some of them. While he hasn't ventured outside after the quake, he's aware that many buildings in Wuhan have been affected. He noted that strict building regulations are enforced, but most of the damage is indeed on the eastern side of the island, with some in the less populated central mountains. Typically, casualties in Taiwan from earthquakes occur due to falling objects like advertising boards. Frank has been living in Taiwan for 10 years now, and he says earthquakes are quite common in the region. After the 1999 earthquake, Taiwan implemented strict measures to prepare for such events. While you do get somewhat used to them, it's still a terrifying experience to feel the earth move beneath you. People generally feel confident in the stability of their homes due to stringent building standards. Even if it's a strong earthquake, people in modern homes generally feel safe. Taiwanese are accustomed to earthquakes, and the regulations for building constructions are very strict. This helps minimize damage and casualties compared to other countries experiencing strong earthquakes. Apart from earthquakes, Taiwan also regularly faces power of the Central Weather Bureau. Additionally, the United States Geological Survey assesses large earthquakes. Scientific studies on the island's seismology date back to the Japanese era. It was during this time that the first seismograph was installed in Taipei by Fusakichi Omori's company. What are your thoughts on the largest earthquake happening in Taiwan right now? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.